You ready to take your trucking business to the next level? With Truck.Pro, you get access to the best load board in the game, giving you the tools to find higher paying loads and streamline your operation. And right now, you can try the Pro plan free for 30 days, a $159 value. Click the link in the description to claim your free Pro plan and start making smarter moves for your trucking business today.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say. Viewer discretion is advised.
Sweet.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all post. Turn on all post notification. How's everybody doing this afternoon? What time is it? It's 1:45. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Let me know where you guys are checking in. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on all post notifications. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Let's get this roll call going so we can get this show on the road. We got 50-some people in here already. We got 20 likes. Let's get the likes up, please. Shout out to UK Hemi. What's going on? Shout out to Great Polo. Shout out to Wild Pal for becoming a member. Shout out to Carlos Carbello representing that MIAO. Shout out to William Sweet representing Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to Snooty representing VA. Shout out to J. Cole, all the MGMs. Vaughn Gray, what up? Shout out to Dave representing North Carolina. Shout out to Kirk Everbless. What's the deal? Calvin Henson representing, where you from? Odessa, Texas. Shout out to 5 Star. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, post notifications. Shout out to Don Solo representing that Creedney Yup. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to Jonathan representing the Boogie Down. Byron Gibson representing that MGM thing. Shout out to SD Walt representing Cleveland. Shout out to AJ. What up? Shout out to all the MGMs. Shout out to all the moderators in the building. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. Let's get straight to it. We're going to continue the storyline for this week. All right, so check it out. Yesterday, live stream, I talked about, what did I talk about yesterday? I talked about 9 to 5, quitting your 9 to 5, right? Because that's a trend that's going on. Quitting your job to start a business, quitting your job to become a content creator, quitting your job to come into trucking. Now, what did I tell y'all was going to happen? I told you it was going to be somebody that just looked at the title, which was from 9 to 5 to trucking, is quitting your job. What did I title it? It's quitting your job. What did I exactly title it? It's quitting your job, worth the risk. You know, it never fails. People don't actually watch to see what the context of the content is. Basically, it was to give you things to think about, to measure your risk tolerance, to make sure it's right for you, right? How things are perpetuated on the internet is that everything's is peaches and cream. And then we find out that people who don't go do their due diligence find out this shit the hard way, that it's not. And, you know, people that promote it, you know, they're just doing their job because they're selling you, you know, whatever it is that they're selling you. They're not going to tell you the lowlights. People are only going to tell you the highlights, right? So you can't fault them. It's your job to go do the due diligence to understand what you're fully investing in. What I basically was saying yesterday was everybody's risk tolerance is different. Everybody's risk tolerance. Here are some things for you to think about. Not everybody's going to win. If you did your research, right? When you do your business plan, you'll see the statistics of new businesses, period, and then new businesses in this industry. Why do so many people fail? That's something that you should research. The true cost, which we're going to talk about today. Can you take that risk? Do you have enough capital to take that risk? Is your personal situation, your livelihood situation, can you afford to truly take that risk? Even with you having 30, you might think, oh, what Mark said, I'm here looking at these guys come in with 10 grand. I got 30, but you got 30 with 3 kids, a mortgage, 2 car notes, extracurricular. Can you really sacrifice that 20 or 25 and be left with 5 to half of the what ifs of what happens if your furnace goes out? See, but as people go, hey, I did it. Yeah, you should do it too. But here's the thing. When you put things into perspective and you measure your risk tolerance, people that say, hey, just go out and do some shit blind, they're not going to be there when you do it. You drain all your capital, right? Now you have no working capital for the business. You don't got no savings in case, it's this morning, I woke up this morning, it's a -6 here. It's 6 degrees. It's 6 degrees outside, and the wind chill factor is under 0. It's like -7. What happens on a day like today? You listen to your favorite person and say, hey, man, forget what Mark talking about. Take that 30. Man, you're going to be fine. You go do it. You blow the bag. You don't weigh your risk. You don't measure your risk, right? You go blow the bag, start the business. It doesn't pick up right away. Even if it does, now something catastrophic happens on a day like today when it's -0 outside and your furnace goes out. Go find that person that say, hey, fuck what dude talking about, man, just do it. This is what I was getting you to think about. Are you in a position to take that risk? These are things that you need to think about. Everybody's going to tell you what you should do, but no one's going to be there to come save you when you do it without fully thinking things through. Everybody's risk tolerance is different. So I proved it to you today by releasing a clip of someone, a classic example of someone who just didn't have enough money. So you know what? You want to combat it? Let me show you what it looks like. I've showed you before, but let me show you again what that looks like. All right, so now that you see what it looks like, now let's talk about the true cost. We're not going to break down numbers. I'm going to tell you about the commitments, all right? Some of this stuff, you've seen before on this channel. Some of the stuff you haven't seen because I'm going to go into some of the hidden costs that aren't talked about. We're not going to break down numbers, but for the people that are coming in or people who are still learning, you might want to, jot some of this stuff down because these are some of the things, or these are the things that cost you to, run your trucking business. It's more cost than the traditional fixed and variable costs that we come across and that you hear about on my channel and most channels. We're going to get into some of the hidden costs as well. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. Make sure you guys contribute to that poll. Do you fully understand your costs or the costs that are associated with running your trucking business? So far, we got 28 votes. 39% of the people say yes, 100% sure. 61% of the people said somewhat, I'm still learning. 0% says I'm lost. The majority of the people don't fully understand the costs that are associated with running their trucking business. All right, let's start with the basic stuff. Fixed cost. All right, what are fixed costs? All right, fixed costs are things that don't change from month to month. These are things that are the same. They don't change from month to month. Your truck payment. All right, if you go to the dealer and you get your truck, however you go through financing, where you go through a credit union, you do a personal loan, you loan the business money. However you do, if you go through a Perco, one of the predatory places like Perco, if you go to them where they robbing Peter to pay Paul to pay him, they take you on a roller coaster ride to goddamn it, bankruptcy. If you go through them, whoever you go through, they're going to give you a payment schedule. All right. If you say I'm going to pay it off in 48 months, 4 years, 60 months, 5 years, 72 months, that payment is going to be the same. It's going to be consistent from month to month. All right. That's fixed cost. Your insurance, another fixed cost. Your insurance payment is pretty much the same month to month. If you park the truck, if you're local and you don't have anywhere to park the truck, let's say like you live in a big city like New York, you can't park it on a residential street. You have to pay to park it like in a truck parking place. That's something that is fixed because that price doesn't change from month to month. If you have something like Motive, that's a subscription that doesn't change from month to month. If you have a load board, if you're paying like with Truck Stop, it's $159 a month for the top tier. It's $159 a month. So that's consistent, that's fixed, that doesn't change from month to month. Your fixed costs, all right? Now you got your variable costs, right? Your variable costs are things that change from month to month, and these are things that are directly associated with your cost per mile, all right? The main variable cost that everybody that's in this industry pays is going to be fuel. All right, it's going to be fuel, and this is going to be your biggest expense if you're an owner operator. All right, if you are a master contractor or you scaled up, this and labor would be your two biggest costs. If you're an owner operator, this is going to be hands down your biggest cost. All right, your fuel it consumes about 30 to 40% of your gross. All right. So on average, about 30 to 40% of your gross is going to be consumed by fuel. All right. Out the door, automatically, off ripple. The harder you run, obviously, the more fuel. You're burning diesel. Every mile you go, you're burning fuel. All right. So that's 30 to 40%. Why is it a variable? Because it changes. You're not going to run the same routes week to week, month to month, year to year, right? Your stings are going to be different. You might, last month you may drive more miles. You may encounter more mountains, which ultimately, drain your fuel faster. It lowers your MPG. The next month you may, not drive as much. Your truck may be down, so that may contribute to your cost per mile changing, or I should say you're not spending as much in fuel. All right, fuel is different. It's going to change based on how you run. So that's a variable expense. Maintenance and repairs. Now, this is something that, depending on who you are, it can be a variable cost. Some people it's going to be a hidden cost because they don't account for it. All right. So, and this fluctuates because you may go some months without having to do any repairs. Some months you may have some major repairs, PMs, things of that nature. Tolls, same thing. It's going to change, right? Your path and your routes are going to change every day. You're not going to take the same loads last month this month. All right, you're gonna be finding different loads. You're gonna be going in different patterns. You're gonna be, different climates, different parts of the country, and your MPGs are gonna change, and so on and so forth. You're gonna be going different highways, different interstates. All right, you may go on 80, and then the tolls on 80 going east are very expensive. This month, you may not. You may take routes that are less toll heavy. You may purposely avoid tolls this month because you paid so much for tolls last month. All right. So tolls are something that are going to change and not going to be consistent month to month. Variable driver pay. All right. If you got a driver, that's going to change month to month based on how you pay them. If you're paying them by the mile, that's going to change because they're not going to do the exact same miles last month, this month, and the month after that, and the month after that. If you're paying them a percentage, your gross is going to fluctuate week to week. So if you're paying them a percentage of the gross, then that means their pay is going to fluctuate week to week. The only way it's going to be fixed if you have a payment structure where you say, look, I'm going to pay you $100 a day. No matter what's going on, no matter how long you work or how long you don't work, no matter how far you drive or don't drive, I'm going to pay you a guaranteed flat rate of $100 a day. That's the only way it's going to be a fixed cost. But if you're an OTR guy, more than likely you're not paying them a guarantee. You're paying them by the mile, or you may pay them by the day, or you're paying them a percentage of the gross. If you're into something more localized, like curbside final mile or big and bulky final mile, you're probably going to be paying a day rate. But, we don't calculate local final mile the way you do OTR. All right. So, all right, those are some examples of variable costs, things that fluctuate month to month. We got 35 votes. 40% says yes, you 100% are sure of your cost. 58% says somewhat, I'm still learning. We still got 0% that says they're absolutely 100% lost and need help. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. All right, now let's talk about some of these hidden costs. First one is downtime. And that's not something that you can really calculate, but it does cost you. You can't really calculate downtime into your cost per mile. That's why it's a hidden cost. But it absolutely 100% costs you. If you are an owner operator and you're in a truck and your truck goes down, you can do one or two things while it's in the shop. Obviously, when you put it in the shop, that's going to cost you. That would factor into a variable expense for the maintenance. But if you want to continue to run, you may go rent a truck, or two, you may just sit and wait for your truck to get repaired. And if you're sitting, it costs you money. Well, Mark, how is it costing me money if I'm sitting? Well, your truck is in the shop getting repaired, and your truck is what supports your livelihood. The bills ain't going to stop coming. You can't tell Perco. Listen, Perco. Listen. I know y'all financing the truck, but the truck is down. Truck broke down. Truck broke down on me in Idaho. All right. They talking about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So I'm down. So check it out. Since it's down, I can't pay my note this month. Perco ain't going to want to hear that shit. You still got to pay Perco. But guess what? Truck is down. So the truck isn't earning any revenue. So it's costing you. Every single day it's costing you. It's costing you the maintenance, whatever they're fixing, right? And because you're not running, those bills are steady coming. That's a hidden cost that a lot of people don't factor in. Mark, why are you telling me this? I'm telling you this because we're following the storyline of the week. Cash flow. This is one of the reasons why you can't survive in this business or come into this business with not enough money. You thought I was going to let you off the hook? No, we're just going to get deeper into the subject. You think you're going to come and say, hey, man, don't listen to him? No, I'm going to continue to pull the trick out of the bag and prove it to you. I'm going to show you real case studies, real case scenarios like we did this morning. And I'm going to go get deeper into more costs that you're not thinking about. When I say nobody's going to come save you, nobody. So if you an owner operating your truck break down, there's costs associated with it. If your truck breaks down while you're over the road, I love giving the example, and the people who've been following the channel for a while, y'all know what example I'm going to get, but this channel is constantly growing, so we got new people who ain't heard it. It's never going to break down in a convenient place. It's going to break down somewhere where you probably in the middle of nowhere. Those are the worst breakdowns. When you 150, 200 miles from like a major city or town, you in the middle of nowhere, one of these little towns. You at the mercy of whoever comes, the tow company, the little local diesel mechanic. He's the only diesel mechanic in town. The farther they got to tow that truck, the more it's going to cost you. Oh, Mark, I got roadside. What? Some people, when people tell me, hey, Mark, I got roadside, bro, roadside ain't towing you forever for free. They going to be like, all right, we going to give you the first 50 miles, but if you in the middle of nowhere, they might have to tow you 200 miles. The little local guy may say, yo, I'm backed up. I'm only diesel mechanic in town. I got, 3 trucks, man. I ain't going to get a chance to even look at your shit for a week. So then they got to call another tow truck to tow you to the local town or the nearest city, which may be 200 miles away. Yeah, we're going to give you the first 50, but that extra 150, you're going to be paying whatever it is they charge per mile. So when you tell me, hey, Mark, I got roadside ain't going to tow you for every mile forever for free. It's gonna give you about 50 miles. Then guess what? You in the middle of nowhere. You ain't from Boomsfuck, Idaho. So guess what you gonna do? You gotta get a hotel. Somebody, who was that came up last year talking about they tried to sleep in the truck in the mechanic shop? Them people ain't finna let you sleep. They don't know you. You think they gonna let you sleep in they gonna close they shop down and let you sleep in the truck? Come on, bro. You gotta get a hotel, big dog. Then they finally look at the truck a day or two later after you've been sitting in this Super 8 or some shit, Motel 6. You know what I'm saying? Where you scared to sleep because you see shit crawling on the bed because you in the middle of nowhere. You ain't in them, you know what I'm saying? These is one of them little shabby little towns. They tell you, hey man, it's gonna be about a week, man. We gotta order the parts and it's on back order and this, that, and the third. So now you like, man, I ain't finna stay here in this little bitty ass sundown town for a week. I'm finna flap out of here. Then you got to take a Uber or a cab 50 miles to the airport. Got to book a flight. Then you're going to have to come back when the truck is ready. Then, like, all these costs are hidden costs. These are things that you can't calculate. And you don't know when it's going to hit you. The thing is, a truck is a machine. It's not going to just run. You can get it PM'd, and when it's PM'd, they're checking for things, but certain things are just going to fail. Certain things they may not be able to spot when you have it in for your PM. Then you have people that they do spot some certain things and they, hey, yo, this ain't looking too good. What you want us to take care of it right now? But because they don't have enough working capital, they turn a blind eye to it and then it catches up with them. They either forget about it or they just keep ignoring it. This is why you need working capital. The hidden costs are the ones that really get people. The hidden cost. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications. So downtime is one of those hidden costs because you're down. Truck isn't moving. Truck's not rolling. And those bills that you have to pay that are associated with keeping your trucking company going, insurance, the log subscription, so on and so forth, they're going to keep coming. Even when it's not, let's say, something like a breakdown or a maintenance issue, like the guy who was in the video today. People that are new, they have a hard time booking consistent loads. Slow times. These are hidden costs. Your truck ain't rolling, you're not making money, but it's costing you every single day. Another situation with the guy earlier, Deadhead miles. A lot of people don't account for the hidden, Deadhead miles. That's a hidden cost. It's not something that you can really calculate because, some people, you have to do some deadheading, but some people just do ridiculous deadheading because of their ignorance. Like the guy today from Maine to Ohio. He deadheaded all the way from Maine to Ohio. That cost. You're renting a truck. You have no freight. You're coming from one end of the country, damn near halfway back across the country, renting a truck, paying 20-something cents a mile. Each mile with no freight, that shit costing you. The fuel is costing you. The cost of the truck rental is costing you. Your time. Your time is important as well. Your time is valuable. So that gentleman who deadheaded from Maine to Ohio, for whatever reason, hidden cost. Things that affect people's businesses. This is one of the main contributing factors of why a lot of people go out of business. It's not just the fact people don't understand their cost. Hit the like button. It's a lot of these hidden costs, which I keep telling you, and I'm going to continuously tell you, is why you need working capital. See, what's going to save you from all these hidden costs is working capital. Because when these things arise, When they happen, it's not the fact of if they're going to happen, it's when. You have the kryptonite. You have what you need to fight it, which is capital. Money is the tool. Cash flow is the tool. That's going to solve all those issues. You need money. Dispatch fees. A lot of people that use dispatchers, they don't calculate this into their cost per mile, which is why I'm throwing it in the heading cost. If you have a dispatcher and you're paying them 8% or 10%, this is absolutely something that you factor in to your variable costs. This is why it becomes a hidden cost, because when I listen to people and I ask them to contribute the information that I need to know to help calculate their cost per mile, they never tell me this, but then later on down in the conversation, I find out that they got a dispatcher and they're paying that person 10%. Anything that's outbound, anything that's a debit, anything that's going out, monies that are going out knowingly, consistently, not some of the hidden costs. Dispatching should not be a hidden cost. It should 100% be a variable cost, because this person or this individual, this entity is booking you loads consistently, week in, week out. You've come to an agreement, you've come to a term on a percentage. That percentage, right, is going to change, not the percentage, but that number is going to fluctuate week to week based off the gross amount of loads that they booked you, that number, that gross number. So if they booked you $5,000, then 10%, if your number is 10%, then $500 is owed to them. That should be a part of your variable cost. All right. So your dispatching fees, technology. A lot of people aren't adding their technology, their logs. Shouldn't be a hidden cost. Should absolutely positively be a fixed cost. It should be a fixed cost, because most logging subscription logs like Motive are on a subscription based model. All right. So if it's subscription, price doesn't change from month to month. Now here's the big dog. Here's the big dog. Here's the big dog. This is the one that don't nobody account for. I ain't heard not one person ever in 2.5 years of creating content ever include this or even talk about it. Don't pay it. We've had people that have come up and said they've been running their trucking business for 4 years. They box truck business for 4 years and they never paid this. Taxes. Never even filed. There's people that listen, it's in the content. Never even filed. I'm not making this up for theatrics. This is in the channel. I can think of one person straight off bat, Lou Jackson. Came up and said it. Like, I ain't paid taxes. I've been running my box truck business 4 years. I ain't even did my taxes. Worried. Yeah. What did we talk about a few months ago? Everybody think about their yearly taxes. I said, well, what about your quarterly taxes? What's that? Then I had to pull out my quarterly taxes, your payroll taxes, your quarterlies. How you got employees and you ain't paying quarterly taxes? You mean to tell me I got to pay taxes every quarter? Absolutely. You got your yearly, but you also have your quarterly. Remember that live stream a few months ago where I showed you my quarterly taxes? See, y'all, I'm going to tell you, God and the IRS, two people I'm scared of. I ain't scared of none of your favorite content creators. I'm scared of God Almighty and the IRS. Y'all running and ain't even paying these folk. Y'all talking to me about scale and employees and you ain't even paying your quarterlies. Yeah. Yeah, that's a hidden cost. You have to pay these people. You think you just gonna run? I don't want to hear about your gross numbers if you can't show me you paying your taxes. I don't care about these gross numbers. I don't care about none of that shit. At the end of the day, you got to pay these folk. And a lot of people ain't paying them. You even got to pay the person that prepares it for you. You can't do it. You don't know how to do it. We still are focusing on, well, I'm still focused on helping you calculate your costs. What makes you think that you're going to be able to sit down every quarter and then once a year to do your corporate filings and you're going to be able to calculate your cost? I mean, your taxes, or do your taxes. You can't. You're going to have to pay a professional to do that. It's going to cost you some money. And depending on how you operate it, depending on how you kept your books, you may be at a loss, but if you were profitable, you're going to have to write a check. So if you're robbing from the sustainability of your business all year, let's say you were profitable, your business, let's say you were profitable, and the whole time you've been robbing from the sustainability of your business, and you just been putting Uncle Sam off, and then you don't go do your taxes. Let's say you're not one of the person who don't go do them. Let's say you actually go do them, and then, all right, this is what you owe, but you already don't got no cash flow, then what? Let me know what you do. I'm just keeping it a buck. This is this is the real. I'm gonna give you the highlights. I'm gonna give you the low. I'm gonna give you what it really is. Business person, you gotta pay Uncle Sam. You scale, you got employees, you gotta pay taxes, your federal tax, your corporate filings in March, but you also have to pay your quarterlies as well. Yeah, you gotta pay in the Social Security, Medicaid, all that stuff. Unemployment insurance taxes. Oh yeah. Because as soon as you fire them, they're gonna go file on you. You got to pay into that every quarter. Health. I see you, 5-star. Another hidden cost. One of the other things I don't hear people talk about when they calculate their costs, well, because most people don't have the cash flow to pay insurance, or they're robbing from the sustainability to put money into things they shouldn't be in their personal life, instead of focusing on things, more necessities like health insurance. I don't really deep dive into health insurance like that because, as you can see, like, it's hard to even just get people to understand the basic cost. Health insurance is something that I think everybody should have. As a business owner, this is something that you have to pay for. Yeah, your business could provide you the health insurance. You can write that off. You can get it under your business, and that business can provide it for you. But a lot of people don't have it. It's a hidden expense. It's something that I think people should 100% absolutely have. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications. Hit the like button. We got 56 votes. Do you fully understand the costs associated with running your trucking business? 38% says yes, 100% sure. 57% says somewhat, I'm still learning. And 5% says I'm lost, I need help bad. All right, hit the like button. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. All right, so health insurance. Now, it's like I always talk about, especially to these OTR guys. And I just, I don't get it. I don't understand why people don't take this seriously, or like what's so complicated about cost divided by miles driven. What's so difficult about that? Is it the fact that the equation is difficult, or is it the fact that people are just too lazy to do it, or is it the fact that people are just too uh lazy to keep track of their expenses so that they can do it? Is it a combination of all three? Is it just incompetency just all the way around the board? What is it? What I don't understand why, when people say, "Oh, I'm starting a business," and they don't understand that in order to be successful in business and to sell something, whether you're selling a good or you're selling a service, how do you determine your price structure? How do you determine what you can sell your good or your service for? It's not a number that you pull out. People think this is a number. What's a good price? Hey, Mark, what's a good price for me to charge to run this load? Like, that's not something that could be like, well, based on industry standard. Like, it's not something, a number that you can pull out of the air. What does it cost you? In order for us to truly determine what one can charge, we first must know what it costs to run the business. You don't want to run in a deficit, knowingly or unknowingly. Know your cost. It's the formula is simple. Cost divided by miles. It's simple. It's really simple. And for the life of me, I just don't get it. If you annually gross, I don't know, 150 grand. And if you annually gross 150 grand and you drive 100,000 miles, what's your cost per mile? Let's see who gets it first. If you annually make, let's say in 2024, you made $150,000 gross and you drove 100,000 miles, what's your cost per mile? I made the math simple. What's your cost per mile? Hit the like button. $1.50. $1.50. You got it right. $1.50. So if you've been running loads all year, let's say like Buddy in the video, that one load he ran or whatever at $1.40. Let's say the loads you ran throughout the year averaged to be about $1.40. You lost about 10 cents a mile. But you would know that if you don't know your cost per mile. It's why it's imperative. Any business you do, any business, doesn't matter the industry, whether it's a service or a good. If you could be a housekeeper, you could own a cleaning business. Okay, you go into a person's home and you clean, how do you charge? Well, you got labor, how much are you paying your maids? All right. 2, outside, the labor, your material cost. What do you utilize to clean one's home? Well, you got Swiffers, right? So you got the refillable cartridges when you Swiffer mop, or the dry Swiffer things that you put on. Those things cost. I use those things. Things is expensive. You get out 15 of them, it's like $10 just for that little soft cloth to Swiffer your hardwood floor. Yeah, you're probably getting water on site, but guess what? What solution do you use? You use Fabuloso. What are you using? How do you determine how much of it you use? Do you train the people? You know what? Here, take a measuring cup, mix half a cup of solution with a bucket of water so you can, stretch your product out to save on cost. Do you buy a stronger agent so that you can use less of it? Or do you just send people maids in there with brooms, mops, Windex, god damn it, all purpose and Lysol spray and all this and just say, just go clean. And you don't have a formula of how much materials they should use to keep your costs down so that you're profitable. And some people out there will say, oh, I got a cleaning business, and you just gonna go clean. You just gonna freehand pour the Fabuloso. You ain't gonna have a no method. Whereas, you know what, take the fat cap off the Fabuloso, pour a cap full. This is very strong. This is a strong agent. Pull a cap full in, and then that's it. Mix it with a half a bucket of water. This is strong enough to clean the floor. Some of y'all just gonna pour. Then you're gonna be like, oh man, I'm running this cleaning business, but man, I can't make no money. Well, how much does it cost you? How much are you spending on materials? Why are you spending so much? Do you have a formula to calculate how much material you use on a home of a certain amount of square footage? I mean, that's how I would do it. Why? Because materials cost money. I want to make money. I want to spend less and make more. That's the name of the game. How would I learn? I'm gonna go clean houses for a year or two. I'm gonna know how much it costs me. I'm gonna know how much I can stretch Fabuloso. Man, how much Fabuloso? I need to get these for. How minimal Fabuloso can I use to clean this whole floor, this whole house? You know what? This strong, but it's some shit that's stronger than this that I could use even a smaller amount, and that shit stronger. I could pour a cap full of this shit in that water, a half a bucket of water, and mix this shit to clean the whole house. 5 gallons of this will last 6 months. So it's just not in a trucking business. I'm not hard on people. This is any business. I always use the hamburger example, the hot dog example, pause, the lemonade stand example. It don't matter how big or how small your business is, you have to understand what it costs to run it in order to know what to charge so that you know if you're making money or not. I open a lemonade stand. Listen, everything is measured. Once I find the formula to make the lemonade the exact way that I want for people to keep coming back, all right, boom. All right, listen, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 3 cubes of ice, a cup of water. Cut the lemon in wedges of 4, 2 lemon wedges per glass. That's the formula. Now I know, okay, I'm getting lemons, what wholesale 10 for $1. So that's 10 cents a lemon. So it's costing me 2.5 cents for each cup of lemonade just for the lemons. This is how much ice costs me. We get an average of this many cubes of ice in a bag. Only put this amount of cubes in there. We're buying water by the barrel or whatever. We get this many cups. We get a thing of sugar. We get this many tablespoons and whatever the measurement of the thing of sugar we get. So this bag should get us this many cups. All right, so boom, based on this equation, each cup of lemonade that we produce costs $1. I want to do 100%. All right, you know what? It's a good, we got to set sales tax. 10.25%. We have to account for that. That's going straight to the city, the state, whatever. I want to do 100% markup. So let's say it cost me $1. I'm going to sell for $2. I'm getting 100% markup. I might want to sell for $3. I might want to sell for $4. And depending on the structure of my business, if this is all that I'm selling, there may be other costs associated with it, not just the ingredients. How much do the cups cost? I'm ordering cups, 5,000. It's costing me, if I order 5,000 for X amount, now I divide that by how many cups. All right, so each cup costs me this much. I got to add that to the equation. You know what? I'm renting the stand. I got to add that to the equation. Whatever it is that I have to pay, all that gets calculated in to what each cup of lemonade cost. It's that, all of that accounts for it. It has to be that precise. And there's a lot of people that are probably watching like, damn, I didn't think of that, but all that makes sense. Like if you're renting a location and you open up a coffee stand, like your cost of your rent has to be calculated into what you charge for cups of coffee. There's a formula for that. If you own a coffee stand and you're offering free Wi-Fi because you want people to come in and order coffee and keep ordering coffee while they sit and take meetings and work from the coffee shop and do coffee dates and shit like that, you're paying that Wi-Fi bill. That's a cost. I was, last time I went and got my locks done, I noticed the person who owns the shop does my locks. I said, you got a vending machine in here. I said, yeah, a person brought it in and they offered to do a percentage. So I don't own it. They come in, they fill it up, and then they just give me a percentage of what the vending machine made monthly. I'm taking that to hope that hopefully the income, my percentage is enough to cover my water cost, my water bill. You only let that vendor come in because he understands his cost to see if that will cover the cost of his water, to kind of help eliminate his water bill. Listen, I got some real estate in here that there's not a booth or a sink or a bowl or anything there. All right, you can put it there. We're going to measure and see how much it costs, how much revenue comes in, the cost of the electric, because I asked him, I said, well, how much electric? Is your electric bill go? Well, it's got a energy saver on it. So if no one is using it, it shuts down. It only powers on if you go up there and push the button. All right, so boom, now we got that out the way. Boom, okay. It needs to generate this much money. My percentage needs to generate this much money, and hopefully that help alleviate my water bill because he understands its cost. I'm going to utilize this little real estate to help alleviate my water bill. Any business. The main reason why people fail in any business, outside of just the unforeseen situations, but let's stick to this trucking thing. 2 reasons: a lack of understanding what you're investing in and not understanding cost. And then we can break both of those down into other sectors. Not understanding what you're investing in, boom, draw a line, branch it out, no cash flow. By not understanding, you don't understand the true cost of running this business. So you believe what you hear and you come in with 3,500, and then you want to go back and forth with me and tell me hey, you a liar. You can come in with less than 5,000 because my truck only cost me 2,500. Like that's the only thing that you need. Can you run your can you all right, let's break it down even further. Look at your household as a business. Hit the like button because I'm cooking, man. And y'all don't, I don't, likes, I don't like where the likes is at, man. I don't like that, man. I don't like where the likes is at, man. There's 75 people, we got 48 likes. Look at your household as a business. Let's do it. Let's look at your household as a business. All right. The income is what you bring in. The cost of running your house is your mortgage, your insurance, or if you pay rent, your renter's insurance, your mortgage, your homeowner's insurance. If you live in an HOA, your HOA fees. If you live in a condo, your assessments, your heat, your gas, your electricity. If you have to pay a water bill, your water. If you live in one of those areas where you have to pay septic. If you have to pay trash. If you have kids, how much does it cost you for each kid? Food, how much are you spending a month in groceries? How much are you spending on clothes, car notes, extracurricular activities? All the bills that are associated with the household to keep the household up and going. Look at your household as a business. How much money does it keep your household up? Month to month. Those are your expenses. Discretionary funds. All right, now boom. After you figure out the number of you need to keep your household afloat, now you know how much you need to go out and make to bring in. If it costs you $3,000, right, to maintain your household month to month, then you have to bring in at least $3,000. But now if you bring in $3,000, you're just getting by, which is fine. People get by every day. You're not saving anything, right? But you're getting by. Now, if your cost, right, are $3,000 and you want to do more than get by, you know that you need to meet that $3,000 threshold because that's what it costs you to maintain your household, and you need to make more money beyond that $3,000 because now you're covering your household expenses, and then you can put some money aside for a rainy day, which is what you should want to do, especially like if you're a homeowner, right? You want to prepare for the unexpected. You may have to replace your roof, your furnace may go out, your water heater may go out, you may have some plumbing issues, you may have to, call a plumber to ride a sink or ride a toilet. Whatever situation may occur, one of your appliances may go out. Things happen. When you're a homeowner, things happen, and you're responsible for these things. This is why you should exceed the amount of money coming in. You should be bringing in more money than what's going out because you have to set money aside for that rainy day. Look at the way you run your household, because people are good with understanding their living expenses. No one wants to be homeless. You make sure, we in the age today where people make sure their cell phone bill is paid. One thing I can say is people do some. You got some people that's just just don't even do that. But for the most part, People understand what it costs to keep their household afloat. People on that on the 28th of the month, 29th of the month, people know, listen, the first of the month is right around the corner. I ain't got enough. I seen some girl on uh Instagram the other day, or a week or two ago, whenever we was coming November, coming into December, was talking about she was finna go out and do some DoorDash and some shit because she had to get her car note together. She was still short on her car note. So she worked all day to come up with the money for a car note. We are good with understanding what it costs for us to maintain our household. So the way you look at your household, that's how you should look at your business. Why do you do a good job of going above and beyond? Even when it gets down to the wire, short on that rent, you're going to go out and find a way. Why are you good with managing your bills in your household, but then you create this business and you're lackadaisy over there? You know how I know you're good? Because you always say, well, man, where the money go? Well, Mark, I got to take care of home. So you rob from the sustainability of business with the understanding that there's bills due at home. So home is, you got home, you're going to take care of home because your ass don't want to be out here in -6 here in Chicago without that roof over your head. I get that. I don't blame you. But why you don't do the same thing with your business? The way you go above and beyond to make sure that you keep a roof over your head and you keep your cell phone on and you keep your utilities on, your gas and your lights, why don't you exert that same effort into managing the costs and understanding what it costs you to run your business and going above and beyond to make sure that you meet that minimum threshold of what it costs you to run your business, and then exceeding it with the understanding that just meeting that threshold is not enough because you have to bring in more than what's going out because you need cash flow to run your business. And one of the main reasons is for the unexpected. You want to have a lucrative business. Now I just gave, ain't nobody gonna ever break shit down to you the way I break it down. So I just gave you a gem. What your favorite content say? Man, that's a gem right there. That's a gem. Hey, look at your business like you look at your house. You rob from your business to take care of your home. We've heard people come up here on numerous occasions when we try to find where the money. Come on, Mark, I gotta take care of home. I send that money back to the crib. Look at your business the same way. Now, man, Mark, well, if I'm robbing from the business to take care of home, where I'm gonna rob from to take care of the business? Run your business efficiently. Rob the broker. Rob the 3PL. Rob the customer. Now, I'm not saying physically go out and rob them. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications. But you can rob them legally by understanding what it costs you to run your business. Also, by lowering your operational costs as much as possible and continuously finding ways to lower your costs. Always constantly try to figure out ways. You may have some periods where, okay, you've lowered it as much as you can, but guess what? When your insurance is due up for renewal, contact your broker 3 months out. Listen, I'm up for renewal in a few months. I don't just want to renew. Let's shop me around. Let's see if we can get a better deal. Let's see what the renewal is, but also shop me to some other places. I'm not obligated to Progressive. I'm not obligated to Byberg and all these companies. I'm absolutely positively willing to move around. Some people don't even think about that. So when I say constantly find ways, constantly, there's going to be periods where you just, okay, I've lowered it as much as I can right now, but things like your insurance, every year you go up for renewal. Shop. Every year you come up for free agency. Shop the market. You don't have to re-sign with the same team. You know what? We ran this year. Man, our safety score is good. We didn't have any accidents. We didn't have any moving violations. We up for free agency. We can get a better deal this year. Let me see what other teams are willing to offer me. We not on the new no more. Let me see if it's some other teams that's out there that want to offer the kid a better deal. That's a way of you constantly trying to find a way to lower your costs. Not being complacent. Oh, my insurance up for renewal. Oh, yeah, I just got my renewal. Yeah, they're going to automatically renew you. Nah, man, shop me around, big dog. I'm a free agent. So when I say constantly try to figure out ways to lower your costs, that's what I mean. Don't forget, you're in the business to make money. You want to figure out ways to increase your cash flow. Planning. We talked about accidents. That can lead to downtime. We're just breaking some of these things further down. You have to plan for that. How do you defeat that? Cash flow. Another hidden cost, breaking it down a little further, economic downturns. How do you plan for that? Cash flow. It's not going to be a straight ride up and to the right. It's going to be like that. You're going to have some periods where it go like that. Then you're going to have some periods where it go straight down. Then sometimes it's just going to be up like that. And sometimes it's going to be like that. And then a flat line. Then it's going to go up and down and flat line again. Then spike up and go all the way down. Then all the way at the bottom is going to flat line. Like, this is the industry. I told you yesterday it's volatile. It's cyclical. Another reason you need cash flow. Listen, I'm going to debate anybody that says you can do it with no money or 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, because this is why. I'm giving you the reasons why. I'm giving you the reasons why, and I'm showing you why with real case studies. Each person that comes up here and said, man, Mark, you're right. I had 12 and it didn't work, or I had 5 or I had 10 and man, I was out in a month. Man, after I paid for this, I didn't even last 2 weeks. I was literally in a month. I set everything up. That was a week and a half, 2 weeks. I ran for 2 weeks and then I was back at the crib. That go 10,000 right there. I just, I'm not telling you this shit because it's fun or it's funny. I'm telling you this shit because it's true and I know. Regulatory changes. It doesn't happen often, but it happens. But people that were around, that's been around at least, what year is this? 24, let's see, around 7-8 years when the ELD came. That was something that became mandatory 6 years ago. You had to go get it. They gave everybody a date, and by that date, you had to have it, which means you had to pay for it. Like, these are things that you have to prepare for, and you need cash flow. Profit margins in this industry, I talk about all the time, they're small. Something that you should know from doing your research. It's small. Average profit margin, this is based on national averages, about 5 to 10%. And people want to argue this shit all the time. And then that's fine. You can argue it. But the statistics don't lie. You know why the failure rate is so high? Because the margins are small. Not everybody can operate strategically on such small margins. When margins were high during that one short little period during the pandemic, where even the most inexperienced person could operate or come in and operate, right, without any knowledge because rates were high and they far exceeded the cost without, really doing any due diligence, that's when you saw people for that short amount of time succeed. And then when things started to correct themselves and you really had to understand your cost, you had to sit down and do this back end work, these calculations, that's when you start to see the tsunami occur. If the margins were as big as some of your people's favorite people say that don't prove why or how these margins are big, the success rate would be higher. If the margins were 70 or 80% on average, the success rate would be higher. 60%, the success rate would be higher. 50%, the success rate would be higher. 40%, the success rate would be higher. 30%. Because the margins are so small, it contributes to the failure rate. Why? Because your margin of error is small. Which means if you don't have enough cash flow at the beginning, you really got to hit the ground running, really knowing what you're doing. You have a small margin of error. I'm keeping it a buck with you. These are the truths coming from a person with experience. Your margin of error is small. This is the contributing factor to why so many people fail. Because if you don't understand that the margins are small, to further understand that your margin of error is just as small, meaning I can't fuck up too many times because my margin of error is about this big. See, the people that came in at the height of the pandemic when rates were astronomical, they were making mistakes. Majority of those people that failed were making mistakes then. But because the margins were greater due to the rates, especially those people that got in at the beginning before the rental truck companies and everybody else started to catch on and increase their rates. So those people that got in late 20, early 2021 that were still getting good rental rates, but demand for freight had already increased, right? Because of the supply chain delay when they shut things down, right? Those were the people that benefited the most. But they had a greater profit margin at that particular time, in that particular small window, which increased their margin of error. They were making mistakes. They didn't know their cost per mile, this, that, and the third. But because the profit margin was so big, the profit margin was eating up those mistakes and they were still able to see a profit. Oh, things are normal now. It's back to normal. So when people say things like the margin's got to be bigger than that, listen, we're in 2025, right? There's agencies that the FMCSA pays to calculate and do these numbers and do surveys to get these numbers. These numbers aren't fictitious. They're not made up. They keep account for new authorities, right? And they also keep account for revocations, for authorities that are revoked. They know new entrants, right? Because you got to go through them to get your authority. And they know the people that are failing because you got to close it. Or your insurance lapses. And then they get notification and then they close it. They know who's coming in and they know who's coming out. Like, I don't understand why people think these numbers are fictitious. That's just like saying the FMCSA is lying. You can go look at the chart for new authorities each and every year, and then you can go look at the number for revocations. So to say that these aren't the margins, that's saying the FMCSA is lying, because this is where I get the information from. 5 to 10%. That's the profit margin for an average trucker, right? Which is small. So if it's 5 to 10%, that means the average person, about 90 to 95% of what they're doing from a day-to-day basis to bring in revenue, 90 to 95% of that, it's costing them. So if your number is 100,000, or let's say a 1,000, at 10%, you net 100, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the margins are great. I think the margins are fine if you know how to operate. You can absolutely do fine with 5, 10%. Because people do it successfully. Now, how to do it, that's a little bit more advanced. We're not going to talk about that. I've hinted at it a few times. I've gone into more detail in like Discords and other groups where I talk with a level of more advanced people. But, we can't speak from an advanced level as a whole here, because, most of the people still have trouble with understanding their cost per mile. So with the margins being that small, you got to understand the margin of error is just that small. So, like I always say, man, in order to defeat, or in order to conquer all this stuff, you got to educate yourself. Cost per mile, that's a formula. Educate yourself on the formula. Understand that you need to know what it costs you to run your business. Understand that you need cash flow. It's not as easy as people make it out to be, but it's not as hard as people make it. All right? So it's not as easy as people make it out to be, but it's not as hard as people make it. All right? People make it hard by not doing what's in their best interest, which is the education. It's simple. Like, you can, once you understand business, you could be good at any business. I think, as far as the understanding of it, but you got to do the due diligence to educate yourself. All right. Let's see. Don't make box trucks mistakes with van rates. Shout out to Brown Goat. Shout out to Paul Smith. Hey, I got a rate sheet for a contract. Says $575 a mile over 175 miles. This is a dedicated contract. It's like a final mile contract. They're gonna pay you a guarantee of $575. If you go over 175 miles on any particular day. They're going to pay you an additional $1 a mile over 175 miles, and they're going to average you about 12 to 18 stops a day. No, you're not going to get 575 a stop. 575 is your guaranteed rate for the day. So, for instance, let's say you're doing loads with XPO. They're guaranteeing you 575 guaranteed for the day for 12 to 18 stops. You do 12 stops, 575. You do 17 stops, 575. You do 18 stops, 575. It's a flat rate guarantee of 575. If that route is under 175 miles, then you know you're going to make 575. If it goes over 175, you're going to make that 575 with those amount of stops. And each mile over 175 miles, they're going to pay you $1. So if you go 180 miles, they're going to pay you an extra $5. Now, there may be other incentives too that, I don't know your contract, that you may get paid extra too. If you do a 1-in-1 or if you do an install, they may incentivize you for a 1-in-1 and they may incentivize you for an install. So one of your stops that is included in this 12 to 8 stops may be a washer and a dryer. All right, so now that's a part of the 575, but they may incentivize you if it's a hookup, where you got to hook it up, put the drain in the hole, hook the hot and cold water up, so on and so forth, run a cycle to make sure everything is good. They may pay you an extra whatever it is to do that hookup. If it's a 1-in-1, that delivery will be included in that guarantee of 575, but they may incentivize you to, all right, we deliver in the refrigerator and we take in the refrigerator. So, they may, all right, so the delivery is a part of the guarantee, but we incentivizing you to remove that refrigerator as well. So disconnect the copper line, remove the refrigerator out the home, and then bring in the new refrigerator. So without seeing your contract, I can't really go into in-depth details of what it looks like, but based on what you're saying right here, I'm breaking down what you put right here. 575 is a guarantee. If you go over 175 miles, right, you're going to get paid $1 every mile after 175 on top of this 575, and you're going to average 12 to 18 stops a day for a guarantee of 575. That's how that reads out. All right, let's look at this poll. So do you fully understand the costs associated with running your trucking business? 38% says yes, sure. 54% says somewhat, I'm still learning. 8% says I'm lost, I need help bad. So we got 93 votes. So hopefully everybody voted, but based on the 93 votes that are in here, more than half of the people that voted fully do not understand what it costs them to operate their business. And that's fine. You got people that on the new, you got people that, maybe a year or two in and they're still learning. It takes years to fully understand the industry in totality, and then you'll still be learning. But your cost is something that you want to try to grasp. There's that should be high on the priority list of grasping, right? Because that's one of the deciding factors on if you're going to sink or if you're going to swim, all right? So more than 50% of the people say they're, they somewhat have a grasp and or they are still learning, all right? So I'm going to close the poll out at 96 votes because it just is what it is. It's majority of the people. We'll close that out. Any other questions? Let me run through, and then I'm gonna retire for the evening. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. Ibrahim should say, "Hey Mark, for a 19-mile tow for a box truck in Philadelphia 2 days ago, guess how? My $900. Guys, it's not cheap." So Ibrahim said he had to get his truck towed 2 days ago in Philly. 19 miles cost him $900. So I was talking to someone yesterday, and I'm like, well, what do you gotta get told? What was that, transportation? I was talking, oh man, I get free towing. I got roadside, but man, roadside ain't finna tow you 100 miles for free. There's gonna be a cap. There's always a cap, and it's normally about 50 miles on average. So there's gonna be a cap. It's just not gonna tow you. Whoa, you know what? I'm in Gary, Indiana. Told me all the way back to Chicago. I'm in South Bend. Told me all the way back to Chicago. Or I'm in Detroit. My truck broke down in Detroit. All right, I'm calling roadside. Man, nah, told me back to Chicago, 4 hours away. I'm going to have my own. Man, they not gonna do that. They're gonna give you a certain amount of miles as a part of your subscription that comes along with, if however you got it. If you paying for roadside separately, if it's a part of your insurance, right, which is calculated in, right. But then the difference, man, they're gonna charge you per mile. So, um, yeah, minivan and a pickup. Was thinking about getting my MC before cargo van to let it age. Yeah, I mean, people do it all the time. I don't see that being an issue. That's what you want to do. People do that all the time. Uh, uh, After hour touring is twice as much. Best to call after 8 a.m. But what if a person is in a dire situation? Do you think you think they should just sit there till after 8 a.m.? What happens if the breakdown was in the middle of the night? What happens if the breakdown was in the middle of the night? So that's another reason why you kind of want to prepare for the unforeseen. If I'm traveling through, right, then you pay, right? If I'm traveling through one of these funny towns and it's dark as hell out there, I'm not finna sit there on the side of the road in this dark ass back road all night, man. Come get me. Come get me. I'm gonna pay. My No, it's just more peace of mind for me to go ahead and be somewhere and just be somewhere. I ain't no. I'm gonna pay. That's why you gotta have cash flow. You have to be. You have to prepare for the unexpected. Anything can happen. That's why I gave the comparison of looking at your house, running your house like a business, right? Run your house like a business, or look at your house like a business. Anything can happen. House, we talking about people who own. Anything can happen. things that are beyond your control that aren't insurance related. All right. So like your furnace goes out. You've had your furnace 10, 15 years. You've got your money's worth. Eventually it goes out. It happens. Your water, but it goes out. Your kid throws a sock or a toy down the toilet. You got to call a plumber. It happens. An appliance goes out. If your refrigerator goes out and you've had it 10, 15 years, it's out of warranty, or let's say it is in warranty, and the warranty company comes out and they say, yeah, we can repair it, but it's probably just time you just get a new one, which these appliances get to that point, and you got a family and 2 or 3 small kids, you just can't not get a refrigerator or a stove. It's an unforeseen situation. It happens, but it's part of the cost of home ownership. You have to be prepared for these things. These things are things that are not, insurance is not gonna, these are things that you're responsible for. So at the end of the day, that's how I think people should start looking at their business. I think if you look at your business the way you look at your home, your livelihood, the cost of your livelihood, your living expenses, and then look at your business the same way, you'll probably do better. I think you'll do better, So you're not gonna put yourself, I will hope you don't put yourself in a trick bag where you rob from the sustainability of maintaining your home by going out and, doing things that you shouldn't be doing, gambling or, you know, buying clothes that you can't afford, thinking, well, I'm gonna get it right back. I'm gonna run this load. I'll just run 2 loads next week. I'll go a little bit further and I'm gonna get this money right back. I'm gonna go buy these Rick Owens. I'm gonna go spend $3,000 on these Rick Owens because I gotta turn up for 4 on them birthday. I gotta come in that bitch drip. I know ain't nobody finna come in there with these Rick Owens on. You go spend $3 on some Rick Owens and you thinking next week you gonna run it up, and then next week come around, which happens to be the end of the month, and you don't run it up, and you done took your rent $1,500. You just spent your rent plus the $1,500 you had saved up on some Rick Owens. Now you can't pay your rent. I would hope you don't do that. Most people don't do that because they value a roof over their head. Most people, there are people that, believe it or not, there's people that do things that put themselves in tough situations, like, not paying their rent and shit like that, right? But most people value a roof over their head. Just look at your business the same way. Value your business. Don't put yourself in the trick bag when it comes to your business. Look at your business and value your business the same way you value your home. I share that I'm planning to start a buy truck venture. I found a truck for 2020 for 70. You mean you found a 2020 truck for 70K, which should help me keep maintenance costs down low? Plus, I'm setting aside 30 as an emergency fund just to be safe. Fingers crossed. You said you plan on starting a box truck venture. I found a truck for 2020 for 70. I don't understand. You found a truck for 2020 for 70. You mean you found a 2020 truck for 70K? Peter says he remembers paying $550 for a roadside assistance to come and spray some starter fluid. and then left, and then truck stalled out in the weigh station. Uh, it happens, man. The thing is, when you pay these service providers to come out, it's not cheap. I remember one of my trucks broke down years ago. I think out on Thorndale Road, or I forget which road, but Cassidy came. Had to call Cassidy. They came. They brought a tire. They charged me for the tire. They also charged me at that time, I think it was 150 an hour, right, to fix it on the side of the road. But then they also charged me 150 the hour for 1 hour to come to me, right? And then once they finished the job, I had to pay that hour for them to return back to wherever they came from. And then it was a 2 hour minimum for the job. Obviously, it didn't take 2 hours for them to jack up the truck, put a new tire on there, right? But it was still a 2 hour minimum, right? Was it 150? I can't remember what it was out, but it was a 2 hour minimum, and then I had to pay an hour each way, plus the cost of the tire. A whole lot more than if I would have just took the truck directly to them and bought the tire, right? You got to pay for these services. I remember when I used to have to call Crown to come out every time to service the forklift. Same situation, $100 and some dollars an hour. Had to pay each way, plus the hourly charge while they were there, and obviously the cost of the parts. Like these companies, right? They pay their service technicians good money. So if they're charging 100, 150 an hour, the service technician may be making 50 an hour, and then the company has to make money, right? Because that equipment that's coming out, the labor, they're making the money off the labor as well. So, and these service technicians, they make money, especially a service technician that's servicing your vehicle on the side of the highway. It's a dangerous job. So that goes back to what I said, paying people accordingly, paying people handsomely. That's a dangerous job. Person that's changing a tire on the side of a highway, yeah, that person is getting paid a substantial amount of money. So, and they're getting paid to drive there and to drive back. You're paying for that. It's just I don't look at it as the price may seem exorbitant, but I always like to put myself, just understanding business, understanding somewhat costs associated with other business from just being in trucking. I understand the cost that's associated with that. Paying $150 an hour for a person to come out, right, and service the vehicle on the side of the road. I know that service technician is making at least $50 an hour, at least. I understand that the business has to make money on that as well, because they're providing a service and you're paying hourly for that service, and part of that hourly wage, the technician has to get paid. And then they charge you for the materials, right? And then there's a markup on the materials, probably 20%. So it just is what it is. It's just the cost of doing business. This is why you need to have capital. All right. What's today? Thursday. I think I'm going to retire after that. All right. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Until next time, peace.